Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League sees Lex Luthor praise Wonder Woman and the Amazons for having solved the problem of toxic masculinity. What? Like the Amazons use ancient weapons. Those things, unless you're lobbing somebody's head off or, like nailing them right in the head with an arrow, death takes a while, right? It takes a little bit to bleed out from being, yucked in the chest by one of those gladiuses, right? It takes a few minutes to die after they, get you in the gut with the spear and then leave you there on the ground, right? This is the toxic part that they've gotten rid of? What? I don't understand. We'll have to find out in the article. Spencer Bakuli brings us this train wreck of a story, man. I can't believe this actually happened. As if players needed another reason to pass on Rocksteady's disappointing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, an in-game profile for Wonder Woman has revealed the Arkhamverse's incarnation of Lex Luthor greatly admires the fact that toxic masculinity does not exist within the Amazon society of Themyscira. Now, I want to remind you that Wonder Woman comes from a culture where, in order to reproduce, her people in the beginning would capture men who washed ashore and, snoo-snoo, but without the comedic overtones. And then later on in the New 52, it was clarified for us that not only do the Amazons take over passing fishing vessels and use the fishermen to reproduce, they also, the males that are born from that snoo-snoo, if you will, from that encounter, they're just pitched into the sea. They're just, woo, tossed off into the sea. So what toxic masculinity have the Themyscirans solved here? Because as far as I could tell, it's a heck of a lot worse than what Luthor calls the mud. Anyway, each written from the individual perspective of either Captain Boomerang or Luthor himself, these profiles, referred to in-game as codex entries, see either of the two supervillains offering both a quick rundown of a given character's personality and their own personal thoughts regarding the subject's existence. For example, in his brief dissertation on The Flash, the aforementioned Aussie asserts, "All you need to know about Flasher is that he's a shiny red beacon bastard to every high school sports captain who ever thought they were better than you. We're just making a living, working as a hard-working rebel, and then this guy shows up throwing his weight around, calling himself the fastest, the funniest, the best. Who asked, mate? If he was any more full of himself, he'd be having little flashies dripping from his nose hairs." I don't know, I don't like what Boomerang does in the game, but the voice actor had a lot of fun with this character from the clips I've seen. However, most of these codex entries serve mainly to flesh out the Arkham universe and provide players with a fun spot of flavor text. The one belonging to Wonder Woman attempts to up its relevance with a ham-fisted injection of real-world socio-political discourse. Just what you wanted in your superhero video game, real-world feminism, right? Yeah. Taken from The Files of Lex Luthor, Diana's profile begins with the supervillain explaining, "I am prone to wild imaginings. As a man of science, speculation is how my brain finds leisure, and the closest thing it knows to play. But there is little amusement to be found in imagining how improved Earth would be if instead of forcing the Amazons into hiding with our cruelty and avarice, we had instead looked to them as a model, replicable, if only we could set aside our baser instincts." Lex Luthor said that. From there, Luthor offers glowing praise to the fact that the Amazons have, quote, "solved so many of our society's ills, broken democracy, lagging technology, toxic masculinity, and thus they flourish through their higher learning, mutual aid, and governance without cruelty. They are a golden society who deserve to be as secret as they are. Enter Wonder Woman, so named, I assume, because one wonders why a woman of her caliber and ancestry would leave paradise to play in the mud with us." That's Lex Luthor talking about that. Like, there's no way Is Baldy McBaldy Pants going to say that about a hero to begin with? One he's fought for presumably decades at this point. Everybody's a little, a little wrinkly in this one. So, I don't know, man. Like, this does not sound like Luthor. It sounds like one of the new gods admiring her. But, and though the profile continues, the only available screenshot of it on the internet, its originator currently unknown, cuts off the very last bits of Luthor's musing. And that's what you can see right down here, is that she is a beacon of bacon? I don't know. She's a beacon of bacon. Who knows? While most criticism of this entry will focus on its mention of toxic masculinity, and for good reason, as this term is rarely ever used to discuss actual topics relating to men's mental well-being and behaviors, but rather as a blank check to be used in service of shutting down all male input in a given discussion. It should be noted that what makes the entry codex particularly absurd is the fact that it's coming from Lex Luthor. As mentioned before, it just makes no sense. As anyone with more than a passing knowledge of the DC mythos knows, Luthor's entire supervillain career is motivated not out of a desire to do evil, but out of a fear that should Superman be allowed to exist, all humanity would come to rely on him for everything and thus lose all motivation to advance and flourish as a species. And players are supposed to believe that the same man who hates Superman for his alien heritage is supposed to be a fawning fanboy for Wonder Woman, who herself is of mixed mystical origin and in no way human? Yeah, sure. This is a passage from one of the more famous interactions between Luthor and Superman, and Spencer was right to use this, and I'll read you this passage from here. Those red eyes, I'm sure they look right through me, like I am nothing more than a nuisance. But when I see you, I see something no man can ever be. I see the end of our potential, the end of our achievements, the end of our dreams. You are my nightmare. That's the Luthor. That's Luthor we know. If he's going to go out and participate in murdering Superman, why? If Wonder Woman's done so great, surely Superman has. He hasn't committed these horrible atrocities that mankind has. But what? He pees standing up so he gets lobbed in with everybody else? What is this? As of this writing, it is unknown which specific member or members of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League were responsible of the real-world planning for Wonder Woman's in-game profile. But to this end, it should be noted that the game's script writing, including but not limited to its banter cutscenes, barks? Barks? Arf, arf, arf! Somebody's... Sure, why not? Whatever. And audio logs featured input from the notorious Sweet Baby Inc. You may know that name. A self-described inclusion-focused narrative and consultation company whose credits include work on such titles as Alan Woke 2, God of War Ragnarok, and Marvel's Spider-Woke 2. Sweet Baby Inc.'s main objective is to foster the concepts of diversity and inclusion within any title brought their way. Quote, we believe that representation is key to connecting players and audiences, and we offer a few ways to help your team and project gain the perspective needed to make that happen. We're part of an inclusive and knowledgeable community of diverse consultants, able to cover a wide range of cultural and sensitive topics. Our approach leads with the creation of joy in marginalized players and seeks to be additive rather than strictly corrective. I don't believe that for a second. I don't know anybody under the sun that said, you know what would be great? If the psychopath that wants to stab Superman in the heart said good things about Wonder Woman. Like, pick a lane, okay? Is Wonder Woman a hero in this setting? Is Lex Luthor a hero? Who's the good guy? Is it the Justice League was evil the whole time? Why isn't Wonder Woman that way then? What happened here? How long did Brainiac have control if this is the case? If this inlaid hatred of everybody but Wonder Woman is there? I don't understand. The stuff I've seen coming out of the Suicide Squad video game just tells me that Sweet Baby Inc. likely got into the guts of this project, and this is what we got out of it. Oh well. Don't forget to check out more of Bounding into Comics coverage of this whole mess with the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video game. I'm sure there'll be more as players put the servers to the test.